Hello, everybody. Welcome to Attitudes with Andy. This is the place where we get to learn about how to build our base level of happiness up so we can live a more joyful and peaceful life. So thank you so much for being here. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, feel free to press follow or subscribe as we have new episodes every single week. Today, we're talking about something I'm very, very passionate about, and it is socializing and confidence. Okay, so this is mainly... Actually, no, this can be used in all settings, but this is mainly like socializing settings, not necessarily networking settings. But I would say 99% of this still applies to all the settings. Okay, so first of all, I just want to, let's get the cat out of the bag. When there's social events, like I am an extremely extroverted and confident person, and yet I'll still feel nervous before certain social events. And I think that's really, really normal. Okay. So I just want to normalize that and let you know that if you are feeling nervous, that's totally fine. And please know that 99% of everybody at the party you're about to go to is also feeling some type of nervousness, which makes me feel not nervous because I'm like, well, if everyone's nervous, then I don't need to feel nervous, Okay. So I have a whole list of stuff on my laptop, but first of all, something that I really, really love to do, and I've definitely said this before, but it is setting my intention for the night, okay? So before I enter a party or a friends thing, I'll always just have a little moment in the car and just say, okay, what's my intention? Is it to, make people feel loved? Is it to listen, really, really listen? Is it to empower people? Is it to, live, laugh, love in the moment? Whatever your intention is, I think it's nice to have that goal. And sometimes it might be to make people feel welcomed and happy. Okay. So that's a really nice thing to do. The next thing, I'm just looking at my list, is standing. Obviously, standing can make such a difference to our confidence. I say obviously as if we all know that, but if I'm sitting like this, if you're watching this, I'm hunching down, arms crossed, really closed in. If I'm sitting like this, what does that tell you about me? It probably means that I'm quite nervous, quite guarded. I have my walls up. Whereas if I am sitting or standing shoulders back, up straight, looking really confident, then one, people are going to think that you're really confident. So it's a fake it or make it. But two, the whole power stance, if you stand with the superhero pose with your hands on your hips, it actually increases your confidence. There's scientific stuff, I'm pretty sure from Harvard. So check that out. I'm not a scientist, but anyway, it's really cool that just doing that can really help. So even if you just maybe need to go to the bathroom or something to do the power stance, because it's going to look a bit awkward when you're at the party, and then come back out into the party with shoulders back, looking really confident. I 10 out of 10 recommend this. Really, really helps me when I'm feeling nervous. I'm look confident, and then it slowly makes you feel confident, which is really, really good. Okay. The next one is, if you're at a party where you don't know too many people and you're being introduced to people, make a really big effort to remember people's names. I know a lot of people are I'm bad at remembering people's names. Stop identifying with that. You're just going to keep being bad at remembering people's names. Maybe change it to, I'm getting better at learning people's names. But a little hack that I use is, say if somebody was just oh, hey, Andy, meet Chloe. And then I'll be hey, Chloe, so lovely to meet you. And then I'll be oh, so Chloe, how do you know the host of the party, or something like that? And so repeating their name a few times, you may seem a little silly, but it's good because it's just telling your brain, this is Chloe, instead of just being oh, nice to meet you, my name's Andy. You know what I mean? So repeat their name, use it a few times in the conversation, and that really helps. Some go-to questions can obviously be how do you know the host? That's a really good one, because if they say oh, through uni, you can be oh, well, what do you study at uni? And you can go down that route. And then if you are kind of at a party where you really don't know too many people, I really respect people who do this. And I have to admit, I haven't been doing this as much as I should be, because back in the day, I used to just push myself out of my comfort zone. Now I feel I'm getting a bit too comfortable, because the social events I go to, I actually do know majority of people. So I will do this at the next thing I don't know too many people at. Mark my words, everybody. Okay, anyway. So if you overhear a conversation and you're kind of thinking, that sounds really fun, that seems like a vibe. Honestly, what I would do is I would just kind of go into that group and then just be like, oh, sorry guys, I was just overhearing your conversation. I thought it sounded like really fun and I just wanted to introduce myself. So you just kind of like make it lighthearted instead of being like, hi everybody, my name's Andy. You know, you just make it a lot more chill, a lot more fun, like nothing serious. So you just be like, oh, I just heard this conversation, it sounded fun, and just be like, oh, sorry, my name's Andy, by the way, you know. And then usually they'll be like, oh no, that's fine, come join. And then they'll be like, this is what we were talking about. Okay. Then if you're in the old situation where you are in a conversation and like either two people are kind of just like having the conversation and everyone else is just like the outsider, that's not fun. But also if you're just kind of like, this conversation's boring or awkward, you know, what I do is the classic, I have a weak bladder, gotta go pee, which actually like I usually do. So sometimes it's not an excuse, it's just legitness. But anyway, I highly recommend always having a drink in your hand, not necessarily an alcoholic one because I don't really drink. I always have a water in my hand. And so if you need to leave the conversation, you can be like, oh, I just need to go to the bathroom. Or you can be like, oh, I need to go get another drink. So I just think that is just a stock standard. You should just always have a drink, and it's the perfect way to exit a conversation. All right. So say you have been welcomed into a group or you are just speaking one-on-one with somebody. I find it so much easier to speak one-on-one with somebody than like speaking to a whole group that I don't know, because it's like, do I ask one person or am I asking the whole group? Actually, I had a situation last year where I went to a party, and this is like early-ish in the year, and I wasn't as close with all these people, and it was like the second or third time I'd kind of all hung out with these people and they invited me to a party, and I went and I enter and there's like a big group of people and somebody's eating potato salad, and I just suddenly got so awkward and my brain was like, I don't know what to say. And so you know what I said? I just point at the potato salad and I go, potato salad. That was my conversation starter. I was like, what are you doing? Anyway, now it's a meme between all my friends. They're like, potato salad. Good times. And then somebody was like, don't you have a podcast? Aren't you meant to be good at conversating? And I was like, yeah, apparently I'm not that great. Anyway, so if you're speaking one-on-one with somebody, honestly, the best way to get that conversation kind of flowing and going is definitely getting the person talking about themselves. I know it may seem like narcissistic, like everyone just wants to talk about themselves, but in a way it's kind of true, especially when you get them talking about something they're passionate about. Like you'll just see them light up and it'll be so easy to have a conversation as long as you're genuinely interested. Don't just ask questions for the sake of asking questions, you know? So that is really good. And then another thing, if you're just starting the conversation, I love to like tell them assumptions that I've made of them. So, you know, you could be like, oh, you seem like you love going hiking. Like you seem like you love nature, and because you're really tanned and you're wearing like beautiful natural colors or something. That was a very specific example. Obviously say nice assumptions. Don't be like, wow, you look like a drug dealer. You know, maybe they're like, yeah, I am. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so I think making assumptions is actually quite a smart one, because they'll either say, yeah, how did you know that? And then you can talk about that topic. But actually, usually you'll be wrong, which is good, because then they'll be like, oh, no, I'm not a hiker, but I actually adore going on long runs. That's why I'm tanned. And then you can like kind of get into that sector as well. I personally do not like small talk, like what's your job or where do you go to uni or all of that, because I'm like, boring. I've said it before, but I love asking the question, if you got given $10 million today, what would you do with it? Because that kind of is a fun question, but you get to see their values and what they would actually be doing. Anyway, so yeah, I always just try and bring an element of fun, and just know that like that person also probably wants an element of fun, and to like everyone's there to socialize and connect. So yeah, those would be my tips. Just joking if I missed anything. Okay, no, I haven't. But yeah, let me know how you go with that. And I always think like when you first get to a party, I think the first like honestly 20 to 60 minutes is just kind of like settling in. And I know sometimes I'll be at a party and I'll get there and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. I just want to leave. But then once I've kind of given it enough time to warm up, to get into it, then I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And so if you're feeling a bit anxious and a bit uneasy and you just want to run away, like hold your ground, give it some time. You know, I think if you've been at a party for 2 hours and you're still not loving it and you're still feeling like that, that's okay to tap out. But anything less than that, I think that's just because it's all new and you're meeting new people and it's kind of scary. So yeah, I hope that helps. And just know that with practice, you just get better and better and better and you get more and more confident, and things that you used to think you'd never be able to do, like go up to a group who you don't even know to introduce yourself. Now you do it so much, you know? So I believe in you. We all start somewhere, and I hope you have fun socializing. If you guys want to share this podcast around, feel free to screenshot it and put it on your story. You can come join us on Instagram at Attitudes with Andy, and I'll see you guys next week for another episode. Okay, bye.